the Asian wife, you know, she was like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all got what y'all got in here. My family is out there. We can't have this. You know what I mean? And that creates attention. Could you have said she was evil? You know what I'm saying? For calling in the vampires, right? You know what I mean? But once again, it's all about economy. What do you have to lose? You know, at that point, she had nothing to lose. You know what I mean? Like, shit, if you ask me, they should have just let her go. Go get your husband, sis. Come back with fangs in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck out of here. You know, it's funny, he sacrificed himself for Sammy. You know, he sacrificed himself for Sammy, but then sort of like, quote unquote, the blood of the lamb, right? But how oxymoronic is that? You know, the drunk, you know, the most sinning sinner, you know what I'm saying, became the sacrifice, right? Like how oxymoronic was that? And then what was funny is, you know, as he's sacrificing himself, he walks onto the stage, you know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of like, you know, you live by the stage, you die by the stage. He's a performer, he's an entertainer, he's a musician. All he knows is the stage. You know what I mean? And so where else better for him to die than on the stage, right? Remick and Sammy versus Stack and Smoke. No, Remick versus Sammy and Stack versus Smoke. And so this is when the transition occurs. This is when the story falls apart. And this is when, you know, the villain or the antagonist of the story is really kind of showing his true colors now. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of showing his hand. You know what I'm saying? He's really like, hey, I need Sammy. You know what I'm saying? You have stories, you have a sound, and we can basically become one. You know what I mean? And he's basically thinking like, well, if I'm gonna be stuck on this earth, you know what I'm saying, I might as well be as strong as I could possibly be. You know what I mean? And what's more powerful than music? What's more powerful than sound? You know what I mean? And as talented and as gifted as you are, your gift is my key. You know what I mean? And I think he mentioned that, you know, he could help him get home. You know, so home to his people. You know what I'm saying? In the spirit realm. Right, so this is Remick's motivation now. You know what I'm saying? And at this point, you know what I'm saying, like I said, the story is unraveled. He has nothing left to lose, so he doesn't have to lie and lure like he was in the beginning. He can be himself now. You know, and then the baptism. I didn't get that. I mean, I got it, but I didn't get it. I was like, why is he baptizing him? I guess he was making it a ceremony. He's like, yes, this is the final key. You know what I'm saying? We done transitioned everybody else. This is the final key. You know what I mean? He talked about, you know, stories of a God above and a devil below, lies of dominion of man over beasts of the earth. You know what I mean? And then he turns around and says, you know, we're all one. We're beast, woman, and man. You know what I'm saying? We all that. You know what I mean? So you know, Remick he's clearing the air and kind of seeking power, as well as, you know, a key home. You know, and this is all through Sammy. This is how powerful Sammy's gift is. You know, in both of their last moments, the clan leader tried to offer him some money. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was that really gonna do? But at the end of the day, it showed me how like stupid racism is. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, no matter how racist you are, the only color that matters is green. You know, and you know, and then she says, "I don't want any of that smoke to get. You better put that cigarette if you want to hold her, because I don't want any of that smoke, quote unquote, to get on her." You know what I mean? And then you notice once Smoke held the baby, once again she still refers to him as Elijah. She doesn't refer to him as Smoke. You know. And, you know, this is her calling to him to leave that life behind, figuratively and literally. No spoilers. But she still refers to him as Elijah. And, you know, up until that point, that was the only time where that character smiled through the entire movie. The entire movie. They're in the juke joint, people laughing, singing, and dancing. And he's just, once again, because he had the blue hat, you know, watchful, vigilant, and enforcing, right? I want to talk about the very end where Sammy is now an old man. Stack and Mary, they actually return. You know what I mean? They return, and who are they dressed like? Remember, this is 1992. This is set in 1992. Stack has on a Coogee sweater with a pendant chain and a high top fade with a Gumby. Like, who dressed like that in that era? Come on now. You know what I'm saying? Mary has on. Mary got on door knockers. You know what I'm saying? A swoop with the bang. You know what I mean? And a leather 8-ball jacket. Who used to dress like that in that era? Right? You know what I'm saying? So what was Ryan Coogler really? What message was Ryan Coogler trying to send? You know what I'm saying? Like what I took from that was that vampires come in many forms. You know what I'm saying? If you think of drug dealers in the hood, you know what I'm saying, they were loved. They were just as much loved as they were hated. You know what I'm saying? People threw stones at them for, you know, selling poison in the hood or sucking the blood out of the hood. You know what I'm saying? But they were loved. They were looked up to. You know what I'm saying, about, you know, kids and up and coming drug dealers, and they were also loved by the hood because they fed the hood. You know what I'm saying? They gave people jobs when no one else would, right? so like, who are the real vampires? You know what I'm saying? That was what that scene took from me. And then once again, not all vampires are evil, right? You know what I'm saying? And all of that, you know, he once again, he lured him with his desires. Hey, you know, I could give you a longer life. You know what I'm saying? You can have this, you can have that. You know what I'm saying? Come, you know what I'm saying? Come on, you know you want some. And And even then, you know, he daps him up and gives him a hug. You know what I'm saying? And then just chucks the douches. You know what I mean? And he upholds his promise to his brother. You know what I'm saying? Not to kill Sammy. You know, ain't no spoilers, but yeah. So yeah, I thought that was a very like it seemed like, you know, by that time, you know, as an audience member, you're emotionally exhausted from the climax of the film and the plot unraveling, right? So you're emotionally exhausted. So by the time you get to that scene, it's like you're not really paying attention as much as you normally would be. But that's what I picked up from it. I'd say that Delta Slim was a juxtaposition to Sammy, but even more so, Sammy was a juxtaposition to Remick. Now, you know, like you got to think, his gift was powerful enough to invoke spirits from the past, present, and future, right? Well, Sammy's gift was powerful enough to unite black and white people in the Mississippi Delta of the Jim Crow era. You know what I mean? That's invoking the spirit in and of itself. You know what I mean? So they were kind of more of a juxtaposition. I saw them as more of a juxtaposition than Sammy and Slim, but or more so the protagonist and antagonist in a sense. And then yeah, I mentioned Stack and Smoke at the door. I mentioned that twice. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so the moral of the story is your gift is someone else's key. Your gift is someone else's key, and so you can't. So you are hurting someone by holding in your gift. You know what I'm saying? You need to commune and invoke your spirit so that you can heal someone else. You know what I'm saying? That's ultimately what I got from this film. And how can someone be evil if they want heaven on earth, right? I'll leave you with that one. So